Discount not available in all states or situations.
Hey, it's me, your cousin, from Boston. I'm on the radio doing ads for Sam Adams. Now I'll be known as the Sam Adams guy instead of the dude who fell in the quarry. Sam Adams Boston Lager is crisp and refreshing, which is why I bring a six-pack wherever I go, except the movies. Anymore. Sam Adams, from Boston with love. Here's the legal part. Watch how fast I can read. The Boston Beer Company, Boston, Mass. Drink responsibly. Now, is that 30 seconds? Are we even close?
Download podcasts of our shows. Listen whenever and wherever you want. It's all on demand. Just check out 969thegame.com/podcasts.
WYGM Orlando.
Sports Radio.
JRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando. Facebook.com/969thegame.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic. TGIF, everybody, we are loud. We are live. We are local every morning, 6 to 9:30 a.m. on FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740. You can also find us on HD Radio 101.1-2. You can listen on your phone by downloading the free iHeartRadio app. Anything you don't hear live, you can find us on podcast at the iHeartRadio app. Just search for 96.9 The Game and then look for Open Mic on Demand. That's our entire show on podcast. You can also watch us on social media. Just go to YouTube, search for the Open Mic live stream, subscribe, and you can watch us live and in color. Welcome to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Joining me, as always, Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and, of course, one Austin Pastolka, the man we call the Sultan of Sound.
Oh, yeah, Mike. Let me tell you something, brother. I'm excited for today because I get to give away some tickets to the Orlando Magic game coming up on Sunday, baby. Let's put the sound off.
Where the Magic playing on Sunday? The terrible Rockets?
I believe they do.
They're playing the terrible Rockets on Sunday.
Which means...
the bad Magic against the worst Rockets.
That means Wendell Carter Jr. going to pop off, brother. Maybe going to have an R.J. Hampton 20-point game. Who knows? Come see the young talent at the Amway Center.
Man, I can hardly wait. Rockets coming to town. I can hardly wait to see James Harden, Russell Westbrook.
Wait.
No, that's right. They don't play for the Rockets anymore.
Ooh, awkward.
Actually, James Harden doesn't play for the Nets very often.
He's a specialist, a playoff specialist.
All right, we have a 4-pack of Magic tickets we are going to give away later in the show. You just heard that. We also have your chance to win $1,000 starting at 7:10 a.m. this morning and then on the 10s throughout the day, 7:10 a.m., 8:10 a.m., 9:10 a.m. Make an appointment for that if you want to win $1,000. We want to hear from you also throughout the course of the show. You can give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 969 The Game. You can also go to at 969 The Game on Twitter and vote on all of our polls, which are up right now, just waiting for you to click on and vote on all of our hot topics of the day. You can also text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. We like to begin every show here on Open Mic with our Open Mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. This comes from our favorite philosopher, the great Anonymous, who once said, and I quote, "The secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. End quote.
Ooh, I'd like to claim that one. Can we put that one under my name?
Wait, you said that?
Yeah, I just said it.
Oh. Wait, yeah, the secrets of your future are hidden in your daily routine?
Yep.
Just means that, if you really want to know what your future holds for you, look at what you're doing today. All right? Look deep within what you're doing today. If you're not, getting up early, if you're not putting in, good quality work, then your future is probably not going to be that great. Unless, of course, you hit the Powerball like that 23-year-old who took 100 and something million large, who's just been sitting around probably waking and baking every day. Oh, my God, I won, man. Oh, God, my future's so awesome. I never saw this coming in my daily routine.
Yeah, I think, it sort of goes back to, I think we had a quote a while back about success. Success isn't an accident. It's a habit. It's a habit.
That's right.
Yeah, your daily habits are what make you a success.
Which is why my hours of TikTok are going to finally pay off, and I'm going to become a big, massive TikTok star.
I see. I think that's detrimental to your success.
Oh, is it?
Myself.
Oh,
yes.
Whoops. Awkward. Whoops.
Oh, wow. All right, we're going to get into Orlando City opens the season at the Purple Palace tomorrow. We will get into that story as the show progresses. I want to start with this because we talked about it the other day. And this, the other day it was the Tampa Bay Bucks and a couple other teams were, going to skip voluntary offseason workouts, which begin next week. Well, now, as we sort of predicted, all right, now it's going to become a league-wide thing. Several teams now, in fact, yesterday, another slew of teams, the Bears, the Browns, the New York Giants, the Las Vegas Raiders, they all joined players from other NFL teams, again, including the Bucks, to say they won't be reporting to team facilities next week, to begin voluntary offseason workouts. Off-season programs, I think they're supposed to start Monday, actually, league-wide. That's when they were supposed to start. But, again, I don't think any teams are going to report on Monday. Here's a quote from the Bears, who yesterday announced in a statement released by the NFLPA. Here's what they said. Players remain unclear about the COVID-19 protocols and protections, and rules remain inconsistent despite the last-minute communication by the NFL. It is for these reasons that the majority of our locker room are choosing to exercise our right and not participate in the in-person voluntary workouts in order to stay as safe as possible. All right, so again, another team blaming COVID for not reporting to off-season workouts next week. You know my feelings on this. I think COVID is being used as a convenient excuse for this. I think the Browns yesterday, at least the Browns were honest about it, in my opinion. Here's what the Browns statement said in part. Quote, "We felt healthier both mentally and physically after having a virtual offseason in 2020. All right. Then they also went on to say we had sufficient recovery time and the lack of additional wear and tear on our bodies during the spring months. We are professionals who train year-round wherever we spend our off-season. As we proved last year, we will be ready to compete this upcoming season." So at least the Browns are being honest about it, because that's what this is about. This isn't about COVID. As I wrote my column the other day, Austin, at the Orlando Sentinel, which you can still read. Yeah, you can still read that at OrlandoSentinel.com. If the players are so worried about COVID, then why don't they just get vaccinated? Boom. It's that easy. COVID concerns are over for the most part if you get vaccinated, especially if all the players get vaccinated. Come on, we're not stupid here. We're not stupid. This isn't about COVID. This is about the NFL Players Association and the players doing what they've been wanting to do for years, eliminating the in-person off-season team activities, the OTAs, the mandatory minicamps in May and June. Union reps, rightfully so, see a huge opening here and are going to exploit it to the full advantage of their constituency. I don't blame them for that. I just a little transparency is all I'm asking for.
Well, hold on now. I'm very curious to see how the league reacts to the Browns statement as compared to the other team's statement. Because if the NFL owners go, no, you can't do this. Just because you don't want to doesn't mean that you get to just skip it. I'm very interested to see.
I only read a portion of the Browns statement.
Oh, did they also mention COVID concerns?
They may have.
Oh, really? Interesting, Mike.
What?
Interesting. That's very interesting that they also mention COVID concerns, because guess what? They're using a loophole. They're just getting what they want, and this is the way you have to go about it. It's all legal mumbo jumbo.
That's what I just said.
I don't know why you're so mad about it.
I'm really not. I'm not mad that they're using this as a loophole. I wish they would be like the Browns. Okay, if you want to mention COVID, but also mention the real reason. Okay, mention the real reason. I mean, I think Adam said it the other day. I mean, this past season sort of proved, and believe me, I'm one of these old school guys who thinks off-season conditioning does some good, but it's hard to argue that point after last season when they didn't have any off-season conditioning. They had all virtual meetings, and again, I didn't really notice a deterioration in the level of play last year, at least not to my unexpert eye. So again, it's hard to argue with their points that you have to have these off-season conditioning and mini-camp sessions. Adam?
Yeah, no, for me, this is a new day and age. We've discovered new ways of doing things through the pandemic. Some of them good, some of them not so good. We've gone to school. We've been able to have doctor's appointments without going into the doctor's office. Guys can do radio shows without going into the studio. I mean, we have learned a lot of things about our possibilities. And one of the things we've learned, and the NFL has learned, and athletes have learned, and now they don't want to give that back. A lot like, there's a lot of employees out there that are very, very comfortable at home doing
me.
Yeah, that don't want to give that back. And so athletes go, hey, look, during the off season, I pay a trainer. I'm working out. I'm in shape. I'm ready to go for the season. If I don't have to drive into $1 place to do it, that's better for me. And until proven otherwise, and again, the sheriff in this room is going to be, if a guy goes, I'll take care of myself during the offseason, and doesn't, this is the NFL. There are no guaranteed contracts, okay? You will be cut. You will be gone. They'll replace you with a guy who's ready to go, who wants to go, who has been taking care of himself, and then we'll move from there. At the end of the day, this is just what happens with the earth and technology and the way we do things. We tend to learn to do things better in an easier way. And when we figure that out, we don't normally go in the other direction. As soon as I get on I-4 and I see a horse and buggy out there, I'll go, oh, that's somebody who wants to go back to the way they used to do it right there.
Mike, I do want to take a quick time out and say, Bud Hedinger is in studio now, right? You could join us.
Yeah, but Bud's of the age where it was probably harder for him to get the computers to work and stuff. This technology. I'm
trying to guilt Mike into coming back to the show.
Mike's in that sweet spot of an age right there, where old enough to like the old school stuff, but still young enough to have figured out the technology side. He's right in the wheelhouse. He's in good shape.
I like my extra hours sleep in the morning. Okay, I don't think Bud gets up as early as I do.
Right? It's possible.
All right, straight ahead, A-Rod and J-Lo officially are Splitsville. That is the genesis of our spontaneous text question. That's coming your way next on Open Mic.
Whether you're drinking your morning coffee or
days. I'm looking at Adams dog with fleas stock. He gave me. It's still going down. It's ITRM. It's a penny stock now. It's not even $1.
I'm going to have to sell it and go into Dogecoin.
Right?
I was thinking about Dogecoin this morning, and I told you yesterday I had it at like 1/10 of a cent.
Yeah.
I'm wrong about that. I had it like at thousandth of a cents.
And you sold it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah, because nobody expected it to jump to 19 cents.
it was 27 cents.
Was it?
This morning?
So it's funny. A lot of people are saying that people are planning on buying Dogecoin on 420 because it's the meme day for the meme coin. People are expecting Dogecoin to jump to $1.
I bought a weed stock. These growers.
Now's the time.
Yeah, but it keeps dropping, but I'm holding it till 420 just to see.
Where is it, brother?
Just to see if
You
people
think ITRM is still going to go up?
Yeah. I think once they get their FDA approval, it'll go up.
It'll go right back to $2.10 where I bought it at.
I think it'll go to $3.
Oh, okay.
$3? You were telling me $5.
Well, $3 right when it gets the approval.
I'd take $1.50 right now.
I told you about the one that I had yesterday, and I'm going to do some more research, but apparently the NFL may have, and again, you never know what to read online, so I got to dive much deeper in this, but the NFL has already announced maybe the 3 betting partners for, NFL gambling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the one stock I got may be connected to it.
Oh, brother.
Hold on. We'll see. We'll see if that matters in the future.
What were we going to talk about here? Oh, yeah, J-Lo and A-Rod officially yesterday announced that they are Splitsville. Now, there's been rumors about this, obviously. But it became official yesterday. Quote from quote from A-Rod and J-Lo in a joint statement. We have realized we are better as friends and look forward to remaining so. We will continue to work together and support each other on our shared businesses and projects. We wish the best of each other and one another's children. Out of respect for them, the only other comment we have to say is thank you to everyone who has said kind words of support. All right.
Oh.
So they are splitting up. They've been together. I guess they got engaged back in 2019 after dating for 2 years. And they've had their wedding plans canceled a couple times because of COVID. And now they are splitting up. All right. I've always thought A-Rod was a bit of a, for lack of a better term, douche rocket. All right.
Where you were, I was like Playboy. He's a ladies' man. No.
Slanderer.
No, I've never liked A-Rod. First of all, he's one of the biggest cheats in baseball history, and he was a cheater. He was a liar. All of that stuff. All right, but for some reason, I just think he is a dork for some reason, and I realize he's highly successful. Obviously, he's made more money already in his life than me or anybody in my family will ever make combined. All right. So I understand he was a talented baseball player, even without the steroids. He was, he's a good businessman. He just bought part of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So he's a success, but I still say A-Rod overachieved with J-Lo. All right. As successful as he's been, as good looking a guy as he is, I still say he overachieved with J-Lo. Who do you think overachieved more in that relationship?
A-Rod, definitely.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Hold on, I'm doing a little crack research here.
You're gonna do. All you're doing is who's richer, right?
Do you remember
that? And I want to say that is J-Lo not like 20 years older than him?
Who cares? Did you see her at the Super Bowl halftime show?
Yeah,
years ago?
but listen, that's all well and good today. After she's been in the makeup chair and all that other stuff.
Come on! You're telling me in regular sweatpants, J-Lo isn't as attractive
today?
You're full of it.
Today. I'm telling you, yes. I agree with you today.
How old's J-Lo?
I'm trying to find it here. I think it.
All you have to do Jennifer Lopez. Go to the Wikipedia page, and there's her date of birth.
Her age. She's 51.
Okay.
She's been married
51.
3 different times. So she's been married 3 different times. This would have been marriage number 4. So this, so if I'm defending, I'm going to take the Alex Rodriguez stance here. This lady's failed at marriage 3 different times in the past. So now you guys got. So you're looking at what she looks like in sweatpants and how hot she is today.
Yeah,
man, you better get on the other side of that curtain, my man.
If
you better.
I know that I've got 4 years max, I'll be happy. Okay.
Spicy Latina. Yeah, she's been divorced 3 times.
I don't care.
No.
Yeah, but A-Rod is a dork, though.
Yeah.
A-Rod's a dork. As successful as he's been, he's still a dork. All right?
You ever think he's a dork? Like to me, I don't know. He cheated, okay? Like performance enhancing drugs. Other than that, the guy was the #1 baseball recruit coming out of the country. He still donates a lot of money to a university he never played baseball for.
Not saying he's not a good Samaritan.
Yeah.
Just saying, in my mind, he's still a bit of a dork.
No,
but anyway,
J-Lo overachieved there. J-Lo overachieved.
You are incorrect.
Yes.
All right, so we disagree on that, which brings us to our spontaneous text question.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
Which sports figure or his or her partner overachieve with their significant other? All right. Sports figures who've overachieved with their significant other or vice versa.
Do I count as a sports figure?
No.
Because I super overachieved with my wife.
Well, yeah. We've all overachieved.
That is
in
correct.
The past.
Outkicked our coverage. By the way, J-Lo's only 6 years older than A-Rod.
Okay. The one that comes to mind with me is Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe. I mean, come on. I mean, good Lord. Joe DiMaggio, he's a great baseball player and all that, but Marilyn Monroe?
This is the easiest one we've ever asked, Mike.
What?
Dude, Tim Tebow married Miss Universe.
Oh, you are correct.
And here's the thing with Tim Tebow, and I've had this.
She overachieved. She overachieved.
She overachieved with Tebow. That's it. That's it. We're out of here.
She overachieved.
We're out of here. That's it.
This is
That's
garbage. I'm standing
This is
up
Gator
right
homerism
now.
at its worst right here. I've said
Tim Tebow is a cult figure. He's good looking. He's sculpted. He's good looking.
Miss Universe.
She's Miss Universe. Okay, she's officially the hottest. I don't know.
She's a former Miss Universe.
Okay,
right?
well, Tim Tebow's like a former football player, you know.
Yeah.
And I've always said this.
Even worse, he's a former minor league baseball player.
Listen, being in Gainesville as long as I was, I had to listen to women all the time say, "Oh my God, Tim Tebow's so hot," and I'm going, "No, that's the fame factor.
Yes.
That is the fame.
He's hot.
If Tim
Tebow is hot.
Incorrect.
If Tim Tebow was your waiter at TGI Fridays, you'd look at him twice, but you wouldn't go, "Oh my God, Tim Tebow, that guy we had at TGI Fridays." No,
you guys are just wrong. You guys are just wrong.
No, she Miss Universe. She was a Miss Universe, like people from Mars, Pluto, all that other stuff. She blew them away. Every Martian that came here.
You don't think Tim Tebow's internationally famous as well? The Philippines. How about that? How about all of these other countries he goes and does, good deeds and good charity work?
Joe DiMaggio. Joe DiMaggio at one point was probably the Tim Tebow of his time. Like they write songs about him.
Yeah. Well, one little lyric.
Yeah, but I mean, it's an important verse. I mean, very important. We all remember. See, you knew the song I was talking about right off the top of your head.
Well, they were going to put Stan Musial in the song, but it didn't have the right rhythm. So, anyway. All right. Go vote on let's do a spontaneous poll question here. Okay. Who overachieved more, Tim Tebow or the former Miss Universe who remarried, or something like that?
All right, I'll figure it out.
All right, you figure it out. All right, right around the corner, Orlando City opens the season tomorrow. Will the Lions build upon last year's breakout season, or will they fall back into the abyss? That's next on Open Mic.
Open Mic. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Who has the best radio show in town? Come on, Nick. The Tebow hate that you guys have is unbelievable. You guys are just jealous. Just jealous of Tim Tebow. That's all it is.
Oh, my God. This guy was just calling A-Rod a dork 5 seconds ago, and then we're jealous of Tim Tebow.
I'm not jealous of A-Rod.
We can admit, though, A-Rod's better looking than Tebow, right? Actually, that's where our conversation spiraled into. Austin and I debating on which, athletes were better looking.
Yeah, I said Tom Brady also overachieved.
Well, he married, Giselle Bundchen, so it's
right. I would say that that's an even. That's not an
She makes more money. She's universally recognized as better looking.
I don't know. Brady's considered.
That's what I said.
With his big-ass head?
Austin said he wasn't attractive. Wasn't an attractive man.
No, he's a goofy looking dude.
But the one knock where I think
we've all seen his NFL Combine footage.
Oh,
okay?
that's true. I mean, he had a bad body guy. But the one thing, whereas I think Giselle and again, sometimes you got to go look past the looks, guys. This is a lesson for you all out there in the car right now. If you're single and you're a man, don't just go with the looks. Tom Brady's kind of weird. He's kind of like because we've seen some of those documentary things. Yeah, the guy only eats. He doesn't eat certain.
No nightshades.
Yeah. That's kind of a weird thing. You know what I mean?
Well, Tebow's like that too. He used to sleep. I don't know if he's still probably not. He's married now. No, he slept in a hyperbaric chamber. He would sleep in a tomb almost. Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. Body recovery, so he could work out harder the next day. Anyway, Orlando City opens the season tomorrow, Saturday. Obviously, last year was a breakout season for Orlando City. Oscar Pereira, his first year as a head coach. Orlando City, we know what they did. They never made the playoffs in their 5 previous seasons. Well, guess what? They made the playoffs last year. They finished 4th in the East. They finished runner-up in the MLS's back tournament. And again, a tremendous first year for Oscar Pereira. All right. But I used to have this old football coach back in high school. He was old school. Coach Phil Breeden was his name at Interlochen High School. All right. Phil Breeden was old school. He also was a wrestling coach. All right. And we didn't have a wrestling program at Interlochen High School until Phil Breeden got there, and he wanted to get the football players in shape, so he started a wrestling program, all right? And he used to have us in this upstairs room, and he'd turn the heat up all the way, and it would be burning hot in that room, and he'd have us on the wrestling mats, wrestling and sweating. It was miserable. All right, but anyway, back to football. Phil Breeden would have us out on the football practice field, and he'd have us run a play. Say the play was 36 power. That was our big play in high school. He'd have us run 36 power 20 times in a row, all right? And even if we run it perfectly 10 times in a row, he'd blow his whistle and he'd say, line up and do it again. Line up and do it again. Well, that's my edict to Oscar Pereira in Orlando City this year. Line up and do it again. Let's see if you can do it again. Let's see if you can make the playoffs again. All right? Let's see if you can, instead of finishing 4th in the East, finish 1st in the East. Instead of just making the playoffs, win the damn playoffs. All right? That's my edict. All right? Because, what's the old saying about, if you do it once, it's a fluke. If you do it twice, it's a trend. If you do it 3 times, it's a habit. Something. Anyway, there's some quote like that. All right. So we don't know if last year was a fluke or not. All right. We hope it wasn't. But unless they do it again, unless they line up and do it again, are we back to square one with Orlando City? So, and again, I don't think they're going to fall back into the abyss. I don't think they're going to fall back in the mediocrity. But who knows if Daryl DK is going to be back this year? He's over in Europe now, and he may stay over in Europe for all we know because he is playing lights out over there. So they're losing one of their best young player. They could be losing. So it's going to be interesting to see how Orlando City follows up last season. Adam Reardon, our soccer expert, what do you think?
No, I mean, I think the question is going to be there because this is a club that hasn't had success, and you got into the playoffs and had a little bit of success there as well, and you want to see the next step. You want to see them do kind of what the Magic wasn't able to do, and so hence they said, all right, well, let's start from scratch again, which is, hey, here we were last year, and then we only got back to that same place, and we don't see the future looking bright. Except for the difference is this. I think most people who looked at the Magic realized, this is about where this team is going to be, best case scenario. Mm-hmm. I think the future is really bright for Orlando City, even without getting Daryl DK back. They've got Pato, who at one point was one of the recognized as one of the great young talents in the game. Injuries sort of derailed all that, but from everything that I've heard from people who get a chance to watch some of these scrimmages and whatnot, he looks pretty good. Nani is, a top 10 type player in MLS when playing, when healthy. Chris Mueller's growth. I mean, we talk about DK. DK just exploded, right? But Mueller's steady growth. Remember, he was a guy that would be on the bench and then come in as a super sub and all that. No. That guy's in your 11 now, and he's a big producer for you. I think defensively. I mean, their goalkeeping situation is shored up. They know what they have there. Defensively, got good center backs.
The hell with Galice. They need to put Rodrigo Schlegel back in the goal after that performance in the playoffs last year.
He's like a fire extinguisher. In emergency only, break this glass. No, I listen, at the end of the day, and then Oscar Pereira's track record, sort of gives you the confidence that he knows what buttons to push. And every button he's pushed thus far has been the right one. Even with the loss of Daryl DK, which I believe, with what he's doing over there, you're going to get $20 million back here in Orlando. You're 15 to 20 million. You're not going to get Daryl DK back, I don't believe. But even without him, I think that acquiring guys like Pato, and then they've had some other acquisitions. They've made a plan. They know what they're doing, and I trust this leadership at Orlando City finally.
All right, open mic, thought-provoking daily poll with Orlando City opening the season tomorrow. Do you think the Lions will build upon last year's breakout season or fall back into the abyss of mediocrity? You can go vote at 96.9 The Game. Please do that. We want to know what you think because we are the People Show, and we like to get the opinions of our listeners. Right around the corner, what do we have coming up? How about okay, so we talked yesterday about FSU planning to build this lavish new standalone football facility, but how important are these facilities to the success of a football program, or are they overrated? That's next on Open Mic.
This is Markel Folks of the Orlando Magic. When it comes
Do not forget your first chance to win $1,000 coming up at 7:10 a.m. this morning. 7:10 a.m. Listen for the keyword, and then they'll tell you what to do with it, all right? But we do it 3 times during the morning on our show, 7:10 a.m., 8:10 a.m., 9:10 a.m., and then on the 10s throughout the day. We call it the game day payday. Our spontaneous text question of the day is in honor of J-Lo and A-Rod announcing yesterday they are splitting up. I happen to think A-Rod was overachieving. Adam thinks J-Lo was overachieving. We want to know sports figures who either overachieved or their significant other overachieved. All right? Text those into 50857. I voted for Joe DiMaggio overachieving with Marilyn Monroe. Somebody just texted in Lyle Lovett and Julie Roberts. Neither one of those are sports figures. So, although Lyle Lovett did overachieve. Dennis Rodman with Carmen Electra. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. Whoever married Paul Feinbaum, he overachieved.
Is that like Kevin Durant's Twitter accounts? Is that one of your burner accounts, Mike?
Maybe.
That's your burner phone texting in.
Yeah. All right. Keep those coming
Bike Miyanki. Who's Bike Miyanki?
Keep those coming in to 50857. Make us laugh. We like to laugh on this show. Brett Favre's not getting many laughs for what he said the other day. We played the clip earlier this week. Austin, play the clip about Brett Favre saying that, athletes and politics is sort of ruining sports. Go ahead and play that.
Yeah, and I think both sides, for the most part, want to see it just remain about the sport, not about politics. At least that's my interpretation. I know when I turn on a game, I want to watch a game. I want to watch players play and teams win, lose, come from behind. I want to watch all the important parts to the game, not what's going on outside of the game. And I think the general fan feels the same way.
Okay, so that was Brett Favre. He may have had some other comments, but those were the main gist of his comments. I don't know where he said that. I think it was on some podcast or something.
Yeah, what didn't help the situation? The fact that the guy who put out the interview titled the video "Brett Favre Blasts Woke Sports."
Okay, and again, I don't think he wasn't blasting it. And again, this is what drives me crazy in today's polarized, divisive world that we live in. The guy can't have an opinion. And, I'm reading some, we posted something the other day and people were bringing up Brett. This is the guy who showed his what to, took what
Jen
pictures
Sturger,
of his. Yeah. And again, what does that have to do with his opinion on this? A guy can't have an opinion without just absolutely getting blasted. And, again, that's his opinion. He didn't blast it. He said he doesn't like it. A lot of people don't like it, okay? It doesn't, did Brett Favre say he's going to quit watching sports because of it? Because some people have said that, and that's their opinion as well. If you want to quit watching sports because athletes kneel for the national anthem or athletes give you who they're going to vote for president, if you want to stop watching sports, again, that's your opinion. Why do we have to get nasty about it? Some of the stuff you that people are saying about Brett Favre now, I think is out of line. I do. Did he blast it at him? Was he blasting politics?
No, and I don't know what podcast he was on, but the way it was worded, if it was worded like that, he may be been on a conservative-leaning podcast or something like that.
Clay Travis adjacent,
yeah, something like that. Will Kane, one of those types of things. No, he didn't blast it. He's just saying. But here's the problem. What he's saying is, hey, this message is what we don't like, okay? And so we want this out. We don't want anybody talking about this kind of stuff. Black Lives Matter, this kneeling for the national anthem. But when the NFL wants to, sell our Octobers to draw attention to breast cancer, nobody ever complains about that, which they shouldn't. Again, I don't think anybody should ever complain about the NFL being partners with the United Way and pumping that narrative because these are good things. And there's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with drawing attention to a cause that you find near and dear to your heart. Now, the NFL sells their attention to, listen, those flyovers that happen for the Super Bowl and for NFL games, those are purchased, by the way. Those aren't just like some altruistic move by the U.S. Army or the Air Force or anything like that. These are all purchased. So my point has always been this: let's get rid of it all. Okay, I'm with you. When I turn into football, I don't tune in before the game to see the national anthem. I don't need to see the national anthem. That's not a moment of patriotism for me. When I go to watch a sporting event, it makes no difference to me what country you're from, what country the players on the field are from, where I'm living at that time. Doesn't make any. I'm just there for the football. Kickoff is at 12. You'll find me at 12.
And isn't that all we're talking about? Brett Favre talking about politics and keeping politics out of sports. Doesn't it all go back to, as always, kneeling for the national anthem? Isn't that the only thing that sort of upset people like Brett Favre? And again, I like the national anthem at games, but if it would get rid of all of this division and polarization, I would say, yeah, don't play it. I don't need to see the national anthem at sporting events. I don't. I can go on YouTube and play any version of the national anthem I want to hear. All right? And
at any time of the day you want it, Mike. Any time of the day you need some patriotism, you've got it at your fingertips.
I can hear Jimi Hendrix playing the Star Spangled Banner on his electric guitar anytime I want. All right. So again, it doesn't bother me. All right. What bothers me about kneeling for the national anthem is how many other people it bothers and how much conversation and division it creates. That's what bothers me. And then we get dragged into it and it becomes a hot topic and we have to talk about it. And then everybody gets all riled up and we have to, disagree with our listeners and they rip us on the text line because we say, well, that's their opinion. Why does it bother you? Anyway, that's my opinion of that. I wanted to get to another story, but we'll do that after we pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. Listen live on iHeartRadio. Now. No, seriously, do it now.
What you reading there, honey?
It's very exciting stuff, you see. It's the front page of the internet.
Here we go with the front page of the internet this morning. We start off on YouTube's trending page where the #1 video comes from Good Morning America, where they did a segment about, I'm sure we've all seen it at this point, the white soldier that's been charged with assault for shoving and berating a black man in a viral video.
I saw the video, yeah.
Yeah, the video is pretty crazy, and all of the things that have come from it have also been kind of crazy. A lot of people talking about it.
I haven't seen this. What happened?
Basically, there was a black man going for a walk in a neighborhood. Somebody said that he was arguing with another woman, arguing with a woman just randomly, and then this soldier comes out to...
You mean a soldier, just like some...
Like a retired military guy?
Like a retired military guy.
Okay.
To paint the picture of the kind of...
It sounded like the Green Berets came out.
Take a parachute again!
That's right. Anyway,
so a retired military guy.
Someone who lives in the neighborhood comes out and berates the man and shoves him and...
tells him he doesn't belong in this neighborhood.
Right. And this guy, the guy who shoved the black man, has now been arrested for assault, and all of this is still under investigation. So there's that. That's the #1 video on YouTube right now. Another video that is making headlines on YouTube comes from one of my favorite shows. It's Hot Ones from First We Feast. They've got Steve-O on. And if you know anything about Steve-O, you know he's going to take things too far. I haven't watched it yet, but I can only imagine hot sauce goes in the eyes. If the hot sauce
exactly
doesn't,
what I was thinking.
Right? If hot sauce doesn't go in his eyes, I'm unsubscribing.
Oh my God! Some of their hot sauce is like million Scoville unit type stuff.
Yeah. Ooh, crazy. Mike, would you ever do a hot challenge?
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, Mike, hot sauce, what do you think you can handle?
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like something that they sell at a flea market that nobody ever wants to buy.
Yeah.
I can do. I eat hot peppers all the time. I go 7 probably.
Okay.
That's fair.
I would say 6. For me, 6.5, 7. Sometimes I'll eat something that's like when I get my curry, I get medium curry. And then sometimes I'm thinking, man, they might have put a little hot in here. I think they put a little hot. Somebody's a little heavy-handed.
I like when I'm eating food, like it's so hot that my bald head starts sweating while I'm eating. Love it.
My nose starts running sometimes. I'm like,
Hey, this is the good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Happy birthday today to comedic actor extraordinaire from the movie Bad Boys and Bad Boys 2. It's Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence has to be... I actually know Martin Lawrence.
Wait, you know him?
Know him?
That was casual. That's a little...
No, I know. I've heard of him.
Like, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. What?
What was he? He was in the police academies too, wasn't he?
No, that's
Martin
Michael
Lawrence?
Winslow.
Oh, okay. Martin Lawrence, though, he's got to be 52.
Martin Lawrence had his own TV show. You may have heard of it. It was called Martin. He's in like the house parties and stuff. Martin Lawrence probably, God, he's got to be 50.
He's 56.
56.
Yeah.
Great stand-up comedian too.
Yes, he is.
God, Run Tell That is his really famous stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. Highly recommend it for you folks, not with the children around.
The LA Times has come out with an article that is just very heartwarming. Okay, you know what's making a comeback post-pandemic?
Well, apparently
hugs.
heartwarming stories. I haven't read one in a long time. Didn't even know they existed in the media nowadays.
The answer is hugs. Now that people are getting vaccinated, where at one point they were handshake people, many people are becoming hug people because that physical contact, they've been without it for so long. Now, No, you guys are still anti-hug.
No, I'm out elbow. I do the elbow bump.
Really?
I still do the elbow bump.
I got to send a letter to Steve Spurrier and tell him, like, listen, you are way out in front of this. 25 years ago, fist bump is like my thing now. It's like, people come in with the hand, and I used to be like an acquiesce to whatever greeting you were going with, like. And now my fist just stays clenched.
You're a firm.
Yeah. I am a firm fist guy now. You're like, hey, fist bump. Boop, there we go. That's it. That's plenty. That's plenty for me. Yep.
Wow. Man, I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger now. I just am. I wasn't a hugger before, but, I evolved.
Thank God we already know each other, because if we'd have met like 5 minutes ago, you'd have gotten a punch in the chest. You'd have come in there for the hug, and my fist would have been right there. Boom.
Heart punch. Ox Baker, a heart punch. All right, that is the front page of the internet. We talked about this story yesterday. Florida State unveiled they didn't unveil their new standalone football facility. They unveiled the new renderings, the artistic renderings for this football facility. And it got me to thinking, obviously, we've had this in college football for a while. The arms race. Clemson builds the football facility with the big giant sliding board in it where you could slide down from one floor to the next. And Alabama builds a football facility that has running waterfalls in it. And FSU now, they released their renderings yesterday, and they're going to have an high altitude room in their football facility. They're going to have a hyperbaric chamber, all sorts of stuff. And it got me to thinking, first of all, I don't think we really need these plush, lavish football facilities. But how much do they really make a difference as far as the success of a football program? Obviously, it is, there's no criteria to judge it, all right, unless you were to ask every recruit that signed at every football program, hey, how much do the facilities have to do with you signing with that program? But it just amazes me that we're spending all of this money on these. And again, I've sort of switched over. Hey, if you're going to spend all of this money on facilities you don't really need and coaching buyouts, to pay off coaches not to coach anymore. If you're going to spend all that money, why not just give it to the players, for crying out loud? Good Lord. Florida State's going to spend $100 million on a football facility. Couldn't they just split that money up and give the players a stipend every year? I mean, wouldn't the money wouldn't the players like that better than having some plush facility?
Yeah, no, of course they'd rather have that, but in the day and times that we're in right now, where paying players was so taboo, they said, "Hey, let's still try to lure the best players, and let's do that with these facilities." What Clemson did and what Texas A&M did, and I was thinking about when you posed the question, how to kind of equate this to what you and I and people out there can understand is automobiles. Mm-hmm. Think about all the extras that you like in your automobiles today that we didn't have in our car. I mean, think about. I can remember rolling down.
Camera,
Well, you're rolling down the. Remember rolling down the window?
No, I don't do that anymore.
Well, no, of course not. You know why? Because there's power windows. Okay, I mean it's just nicer.
I don't have any the cloth seats.
Are you kidding me? Nobody does that. How about seats that when it gets cold in Florida, those 2 days warm up so your backside feels real nice when you get to
My luxury Genesis sedan has the air-conditioned seats as well.
Oh, so if it gets too hot in Florida.
It blows cool air up your booty.
Listen, and you know what? You know what Genesis does? They sell that to you, to other people. Mm-hmm. They go, listen, hey, here's something.
Like having a cool booty.
Hey, it's too cold outside. You don't want to go outside to start your car? Here's a button on your fob, and you can start your own car without having to go outside. These are all little things. These are all
no
little
booty
things.
Sweat for me.
That's it. And that's important. You may be going on a date on an afternoon picnic, hot date. You don't want to show up with wet butt. You don't want to do that. So you got the air conditioned seats. That's a great sell. And Clemson and Texas A&M and I'm sure every school to follow is selling to these kids. Hey, look, we got this facility. Some of them are selling, hey, we got our own barber shop in here. Some of them have their own music studios. Hey, you like to rap? Hey, we got a studio for you to go into. That's what it is. You and I buy cars because they have extras, things that, we may use once in a while.
That's a good comparison. That is a good comparison because I do, and again, I rail against them as a waste of money, but I do think they make a difference. In fact, I'll go to your favorite team, the Miami Hurricanes. It used to, the Hurricanes, again, they've never had great facilities. Back in the day, though, it didn't really matter. Miami had the worst facilities in the state in the 80s and the 90s, and they still won national championships. They won 5 national championships. Facilities used to not matter as much, but now, because everybody's building them, they do. And I thoroughly believe that's one reason Miami has sort of fallen off over the last decade or so, because they didn't have the money or the facilities to sort of keep up with the Joneses or the Sabins.
And Mike, you're right. And you think about what conference has benefited most by the growth of college football and the SEC. And you tell me an SEC school besides Vanderbilt that struggles with facilities or at least doesn't have a great plan. And even Vanderbilt now is saying, hey, we're gonna dump a lot of money into our facilities because they've had the money to do so. And what schools and what conference can go into Miami now and pull those great athletes out of there easier than anywhere else? Alabama, LSU, Florida now in the South Florida area. I mean, you see that because they had the money and invested it into their facilities.
Although Jim McElwain, he turned into a disaster at the University of Florida. The one thing he did do is when he got there, he told Jeremy Foley, your facilities stink. You need to start building some facilities. And that's when Foley and the athletic department built the indoor practice facility and started renovating their facilities. So that was McElwain's contribution to the University of Florida.
Well, and McElwain was on staff with Nick Saban at Alabama, so he saw it up close and personal. Hey, you want to know one of the reasons why we get every kid we want to get is because when they show up here, our place looks better. We are a car with power windows and air conditioned seats at Alabama, and you guys are a pickup truck with the handheld crank windows. You need to get into this day and age, and Florida's benefiting from that.
Yeah. Also, high def radio, HD radio. Got to get that in your new sedan as well. It's awesome. In fact, you can listen to us on HD radio 101.1-2.
Cheap plug.
There you have it. All right, straight ahead, we're going to do a little sound off. But first, we have your first chance to win $1,000 right now.
Now, here's your chance to win.
Is the Sound Off Music Sound Off brought to you by Orlando Magic versus the Houston Rockets right here on this very station. Coverage starts at 6:30 p.m. on Sunday, and right after this segment, we're going to give you a chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to that game. How about that? What do we have, Austin?
Oh, hold on. What do we have, Austin?
Sound off! Sound off! I did see him. I did hear him. And, I know it's not full capacity where we want to be, but it was great to have our fans back watching us and cheering us on. And, it just gave us a different level of energy and juice. And hopefully it continues to grow.
Man, huge moment yesterday for the city of LA. They had fans in the stands for the first time since the pandemic, since the NBA shut.
What took them so long? We've had fans in Florida for months now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh. But this is a huge step when even LA is having 2,000 fans there. The fans had to prove either a vaccination or a negative COVID test in order to go in. They only had 2,000 people in attendance, but this is huge, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When states like California start opening up, as cautious as they've been during COVID, when that happens, yeah, it's a great sign. It's a sign that, yes, we are on the backside of this pandemic because, again, Florida and what we've done in Florida is not normal, all right? These other states have been more cautious than we have in Florida. Now, you can say that's good or bad, but the fact that California and these states are opening up, I think, is a great sign that the pandemic finally is going to end soon.
Sound off! Sound off!
Brandon, what's up? WWE superstar Randy Orton here. I saw you reached out and sent me a message on Cameo, so I'm just going to hit you back. I see you like to go by Belair as opposed to your given name, Brandon. I'm sure that pisses your mom off something real good. You got a YouTube vlog, and that's great and everything, but I did the research, I checked it out, and brother, that vlog is the drizzling. I don't care if you're giving back to the community, if you're helping little old ladies walk the street, if you're picking up dog in your neighbor's yard, it doesn't matter. Listen, you need a better video editor, brother. And you need better talent. As a matter of fact, maybe put a bag over your head and cut that video vlog, because I think you might get some viewers then, and maybe do more for the community by not allowing us to see that ugly melon.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This is WWE superstar Randy Orton coming after someone who paid for a cameo. I assume that a buddy of theirs bought this cameo and said, hey, roast my buddy. But man, I want to see more cameos like this. Enough of the, hey, happy birthday, man. Really, hope your birthday's great. For $50 in my pocket, $150 in my pocket, however much it is. What do you think about the roast cameo?
Well, no, I think they're fun. I actually love roasts. Like you watch them on Comedy Central, and then if you ever really Google like some of the old school roasts with like Sammy Davis Jr. and
Don Rickles roasting Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, like those are funny. I mean, I think they're tremendous. So yeah, no, I think it's cool. But I also like the other ones. I also like the fact that if you're a big fan of somebody, I actually, so when we discovered Cameo, I got Austin a cameo.
Yeah.
From some, who was the guy I got it?
Tom Stoltman.
Tom Stoltman, who's like
world's
a world's strongest man competitor.
Current world record holder for the Atlas Stone.
Okay, so he's a world record holder. That's how great our friendship is. And and one of the things I wrote for him to say to Austin is like something about skipping leg day.
Yeah.
It looks like you're riding an ostrich. Your legs are so small. Or something like that. So yeah, no, they're fun. They're fun. Yeah, and you.
How do you get on Cameo? Can I charge?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you can.
You think I can make any money on Cameo?
100%.
You could make some money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
I really think so.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike Bianchi sets up a cameo. Oh my gosh, that's gonna happen.
I'm doing it.
Sound off!
It's an interesting class. There's an interesting group of guys, and some have very strong in some skills. Some are seem very strong in other skills. So it's it's definitely an interesting group.
What
Good
the hell
Lord.
was that?
Is that him talking
Bill
about
Belichick.
quarterbacks?
Bill Belichick
Yes.
Okay.
talking about the upcoming quarterback draft class. Well, some of them have some skills and some of them don't have other skills. What's the point in interviewing Bill Belichick if that's his answer, guys?
Well, again, I don't know why Bill Belichick. Actually, I don't know why anybody is interviewed before the draft, because nobody's going to tell you what they're really going to do. All the pre-draft press conferences are all a bunch of lies and smoke screens. You can't believe anything anybody says. And Belichick, the guy is so dry and so boring. I don't know why anybody interviews him, period. I guess because he's the greatest NFL coach, arguably, of all time, that you have to quote him. But his quotes are terrible. If I were covering the New England Patriots, I would, and writing sports columns or doing sports talk radio, I would never have a Bill Belichick clip on the radio show, or I would never have a quote of Bill Belichick's in my column, because the guy says nothing. He's so boring. Boring.
That's his, but I think it's half shtick. Okay, because I just watched a clip, with Julian Edelman retired.
Yeah.
Have you seen the clip of when Julian Edelman returned a punt for a touchdown? And this was when Wes Welker was still on the team, right? And so he returns this punt, and the guy is shifty, and he breaks this touchdown run on a punt return, and Bill Belichick radios up to like his offensive coordinator, somebody up in the booth, and goes, "Hey, who is that guy that Lou Gehrig replaced?" And the guy goes, "Wally Pipp." And it shows him walk over to Wes Welker, who's injured on the sideline at the time, but in street clothes, and he goes, "You ever heard of Wally Pipp?" And Wes Welker goes, "No." And he goes, "Well, he was the guy that used to be the first baseman before Lou Gehrig, before he got hurt, and Lou Gehrig stepped in there for him, and he
nice
then
guy,
started
injured player, and he said you're going to be replaced."
He basically called it, because Wes Welker at that time was a big time slot receiver,
absolutely.
and he got Wally pipped. He got Wally
pipped, and then the Dolphins ended up with didn't they end up with Wes Welker?
The remnants.
Yeah.
Yeah, the remnants of Wes Welker. Yeah.
Sound off. That's the sound off for today, which means give me a hell yeah if you want a 4-pack of tickets to see the Orlando Magic take on the Houston Rockets this Sunday at the Amway Center. Come on, see the young guys. Maybe R.J. Hampton pops off. Wendell Carter Jr., baby. He's here ready to kick some Rocket ass, okay? And you can see it.
God.
Give us a call, 407-916-8255. 407-916-8255 for your chance at a 4-pack of tickets to see the Orlando Magic take on the Houston Rockets. Mike, tell the beautiful people what's going on next in the show.
Well, Florida Gators AD Scott Strickland expects the Swamp to be back to full capacity this season, but I don't. I'll explain next on Open Mic.
Open Mic.
Today, J-Lo and A-Rod announced yesterday they are officially Splitsville. We want to know sports celebrities, as A-Rod is, sports celebrities who have overachieved with their significant other. Somebody just texted in. They remembered. Mike Bianchi overachieved with Danica Patrick. I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, what?
You guys have never heard this story?
I have never heard this story.
So, this has been years ago when Danica first emerged onto the NASCAR scene, and I was over in Daytona to do a column on Danica Patrick. So, was it a column, or did we actually have her on the? Actually, I think it was a radio interview. I think it was a radio interview because we had a recording of it. I wish we could find that recording, by the way. It was recording, and I was asking Danica Patrick. Obviously, it was at the time where Danica, she was posing, in bikinis and things like that. And, that was part of her appeal on the NASCAR circuit, was her sex appeal.
The GoDaddy commercials were...
Yeah, the GoDaddy commercials, all of that. So I asked her if it bothered her, something to the effect, does it bother you that your sex appeal is part of your sort of your story in NASCAR? And she essentially said, no, it doesn't bother me, just like it wouldn't bother you if somebody talked about how good looking you are. And I go, well, nobody has ever told me that. And she goes, oh, I bet they have.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. That's what Danica said to me. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I bet they have. Yeah.
Wow.
Mike Bianchi.
Yeah. So actually, it was an in-person interview, but I recorded it and we played it on the radio. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I was right there. And she said, oh, I bet they have. Yeah.
That sounds like a door cracked open there.
And then she started dating Aaron Rodgers shortly thereafter.
Well,
Actually, it was Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Well, she's got a type, apparently, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike Bianchi.
Although I'm as tall as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I'm not as tall as Aaron Rodgers. So
I've heard a saying.
She apparently likes people in the sports industry, NASCAR drivers, NFL quarterbacks, sports columnists.
I've heard a saying that flirting will get you anywhere.
Yeah.
So
see if we can go back through the archive, see if we can find that clip.
It's
probably long gone, but yeah.
I was going to say, if that clip exists, are you kidding me? That should be your ringtone.
Right?
That should be your ringtone.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
I bet they did. I may be enhancing how she said it a little bit, but
oh really? What? Mike Bianchi enhancing the story?
That's the gist of it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do a little stat boy here correction on something we said earlier. Austin, during front page of the internet, was talking about the white soldiers sort of assaulting the black guy in the neighborhood in South Carolina, and we didn't know if he was a current soldier or retired soldier. We ended up that he's a retired soldier. He's not retired. He's an active sergeant in the military. So
not for long.
Yeah, that's my stat boy correction. Speaking of stat boy, Tony Reale of ESPN, that's how he started at ESPN. Remember when he was stat boy on Pardon the Interruption? He was the guy, Wilbon and Kornheiser would be doing their show. And at the end, stat boy would come on and talk about all the mistakes they made during the show, correcting the errors of Wilbon and Kornheiser. And that's how Tony Reale got his start at ESPN. That was 20 years ago, by the way. All right, 20 years ago, Tony Reale just signed the new deal at ESPN. Now, of course, he's the host of Around the Horn, and he does some other stuff on ESPN. This guy, you want to talk about a guy that has come from nowhere? He was stat boy. He was like 21 years old. All right. He got his foot in the door as stat boy, correcting the errors of the two stars at ESPN. That led to him filling in it Around the Horn, and boom, now he's signing like a multi-million-dollar, multi-year deal at ESPN. That's a success story. right there. I like Tony Reali, too. I think he's good as a host of Around the Horn. You guys like him?
I mean, I like him. I don't watch anymore. But I want to say that, he went through some personal struggles too. Not himself, but like with his family members and stuff. And sort of, it was kind of visible. So I think he connected with the audience, through that. He was pretty open about. I want to say it was like a death in the family or something like that, if I remember correctly. But he does. He has a way of being, one of those guys that's, smarter than most, but not making you feel like he's smarter than most.
By the way, did I ever tell you, remember they used to have the show on the ESPN, Sports Reporters on every Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
Sports Reporters like Mike Lupica, Mitch Albom, other big-name sports writers at the time. So at one point, actually Dan Lebitard, all right, Dan Lebitard, who started at ESPN at the time, and he was rising up through the ranks of ESPN, and I know Dan Lebitard pretty well. And he called me one time, and he goes, "Hey, you want to be on the Sports Reporters?" And I go, yeah, I want to be on the Sports Reporters. So he set it up where I was going to be on the Sports Reporters on a Sunday, all right? And so, but I had a Tampa Bay Buccaneers game I was covering that Sunday for the Orlando Sentinel. So I called up my boss at the time, Lynn Hoppus. All right? Called up Lynn Hoppus. I said, "Listen, I have a chance to be on the Sports Reporters on Sunday. Can I get out of covering the game?" And he goes, "No.
What?
No.
Wow.
No. We need you to cover the game." All right?
Oh.
Yeah. And I never got another call.
That was your chance at the bigs. That was your chance at the bigs.
It was my chance at the bigs. And a couple years later, you know where Lynn Hoppus ended up? At ESPN. Yeah.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. He ended up at ESPN.
Did you ever call him after that and say, that should have been me?
I still give him grief about that. Even today. I mean, I still, we still keep in touch. He's a friend of mine. But yeah, you cost me my chance.
Was Bob Ryan one of the guys that was on that show a whole bunch?
Bob Ryan was on there. Mike Lupica. They used to have the big fat guy from Philly, Bill Conlon. Remember him?
Oh yeah. Bill Conlon. Well, didn't Mark Daniels tell a Bob Ryan story when they were at the NCAA tournament a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
And it's like,
how he sat beside Bob Ryan. Yeah.
And he sees him writing like Central Florida University or something like that, and he's like, "Oh no, it's University of Central Florida," or something like that. And he said, Bob Ryan looked at him like, "Don't you ever, don't you dare." So like when your parents tell you to do something and then they do it 10 minutes later and you go, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't you dare. Go to your room."
Mike, real quick before we duck into a break, I couldn't find that Danica clip, but I found something a little different. This is labeled "Ping with Danica Patrick Awkward Interview." Do you know what this clip is?
No, play it then. Well, actually, let's listen to it before you play it.
I have listened to it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, let's play it.
All right. Come on. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Here we go. We got it right here.
How much do you enjoy doing this media session? Do you enjoy it at all? I mean, it gets a message out to your fans.
Do I enjoy it?
Yeah.
Well, I can't say that it's like a thrill a minute. And I'm just always hoping that someone comes up with a unique question.
I have something unique.
Good, do it.
I really do. Now, I want you to watch this, okay? I do the sports here in Orlando.
Okay.
Channel 6. Now, we've known each other now
I feel like you're like behind the lines here.
No. Okay, well, there's a lot of viewers that think that me and you have a beef. This is me asking this question. The leaders at that point, you guys couldn't make a move?
I mean, I don't know if you watched the race, but that was the story of the day.
Now, a lot of people think that we just don't like each other.
I guess it's appropriate then that I said what I said, huh?
See,
I don't disappoint you, do I?
No.
I just continue to add to that reel.
You continue to add the reel. There are people that think that you just don't like me.
That's not it at all. Just, I like good questions. I feel like this has been our best interview
This has been our best interview, hasn't it? Our best exchange.
Agreed.
Wow. Wow. She's hitting on Mike Bianchi, and then she is brushing off Ping.
Yeah.
Like getting him out of her face.
Yeah. So anyway.
Goodness.
All right. right around the corner, we're going to get to this story. UCF AD Scott Strickland said he expects the Swamp to be at full capacity this season, but I do not. I will explain next on Open Mic. Open Mic, the best radio show in town. Isn't that right, Urban?
to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
Welcome back to Open Mic. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog, sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. Joining me, as always, Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound.
Yeah.
Together we are Open Mic, the troika of sports talk radio excellence in the megalopolis we know as Central Florida. Do not forget, we've got your next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 8:10 a.m. this morning. You'll want to be listening for that. Also, Gene Frenette, columnist of the Florida Times Union up in Jacksonville, will join us at 8:15 to talk about what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who are they going to take with the 25th pick of the first round? Also, I want to ask him, all of these NFL teams now are essentially bagging off-season workouts, all right? They're saying, hey, we're not going to show up for off-season workouts. That's got to be driving Urban Meyer crazy. If the Jaguars don't show up for off-season workouts, he'll go bananas. He will absolutely go bananas.
The only person that would have hated that more is if Tom Coughlin were still a head coach in the
Right?
NFL. If Tom Coughlin were still floating around the NFL, his head would explode.
Absolutely. So we're going to get to that story with Gene Frenette as well. All right, I've been teasing this story. So I am technologically inept. So I was just on the Florida Gators website trying to see how many season tickets I could buy. All right, Austin, see if you can do that. See if you can get on the Florida Gators website and see how many season tickets are available. I don't even know how you would do that. All right. But anyway, Scott Strickland said the other day, he's the athletics director at the University of Florida, that he expects full capacity for football games and all sporting events this fall in Gainesville. Now, the capacity at UF and the Swamp is about 90,000. All right, so he's saying, hey, we expect full capacity. Now, that doesn't mean that there's going to be 90,000 fans there every game. They would like that. But we've talked a lot during the pandemic. What are the crowds going to be like when the pandemic is over and the venues allow full capacity? There is one school of thought that I don't happen to adhere to, that fans are going to be so eager to get back into the stadiums and be fans again that they're going to show up in mass, even more than before the pandemic. And then there's the other school of thought, which I do adhere to, that attendance at sporting events, not just college football, but all sporting events, was starting to dwindle even before the pandemic. I think that's going to continue. And again, if the Swamp, I'll look up that Florida's average attendance the year before the pandemic, all right, which was a good year. They win 11 games the year before the pandemic. Great year for Dan Mullen in his second season at Florida. I'm going to look up the average attendance here in a minute, all right? I don't think it'll be near that this year. I don't think it'll be near the average attendance that it was in, 2019. What do you think, Adam Reardon?
Yeah, I think it'll be lower. Again, we kind of have this discussion about technology sort of and this pandemic kind of teaching us to do things differently. Again, I think that the home viewing experience and the fact that we had to watch games at home, and people recognize I can save a lot of money doing this and still be around the people that I care about, do it a lot in a much more safe environment. Yeah, I don't think it'll be above. I don't think it'll be so much lower though that we go, oh my gosh, look at these numbers. But I do believe it'll be a little bit lower. But I do know that there's a faction of the sports community that can't wait to get back to a sense of normalcy, which is being in their seat that they've had, in the swamp since their grandfather had it. How some of those Gator fans have, sort of passed those seats down from generation to generation. There's a lot of them that can't wait to get back. So I think the number will be up there. It'll be a little bit lower than what the average was, a couple of years ago.
Here we go. Average for Florida, 2019 was 84,684.
Lower.
I'm gonna go. It'll be. I'll say it's gonna be 7,000 to 8,000 lower than that. I think it'll be closer to 77, maybe 75,000 even.
Oh, because I was thinking 70 to 72,000 would be about right.
Well, then you think it's going to go down
even lower,
significantly?
Even lower.
Yeah. So you think it's going to go down 12,000?
Yep.
14,000?
Yep.
Oof.
So that's significant.
It's very significant. Here's what I found for season tickets available, and this is having to do some math on their website because they don't just straight up tell you. It is more than 5,000 tickets. Season tickets are still available. More than 5,000.
So it could be 10,000.
It is definitely less than 10,000. But
it's less than 10,000.
Yeah. After doing quick math of clicking around the entire stadium, there are a couple sections that are very, very open that have like 500 plus season tickets available. So it is more than 5,000. I'd say less than 7,000.
So there may be people that still have their season tickets because once you let them go, I'm sure they're threatening you. If you let these season tickets go, then you'll never get them back.
And a lot of people let their season tickets go. I'll use my buddy as an example. My buddy Robin, all right? One of my best buddies from high school, all right? He avid Gator fan. He lives in Tallahassee, all right? Avid Gator fan. All right, has had season tickets for years, all right? And he gave them up last year because of the pandemic, all right? He gave them up, and he's not renewing. He just said, listen, it's too much trouble to go to the game now. I'm just going to stay home and watch it on my big screen. I think there are going to be a lot of people like that. I really do. And I'll make another prediction. That sort of fraudulent Nebraska sellout streak, that will come to an end. That will come to an end this season.
Nope, not a chance. It will not.
Nebraska sold out, or they purported to sell out every home football game since before Kennedy was assassinated in the early 60s.
Yep.
That will come to an end this season.
Not a chance.
All right.
Not a chance. Okay.
No?
If you think people don't really care about the pandemic here in Florida, you should check out Nebraska for a little bit. All right.
The news hasn't even hit Nebraska yet.
Yeah, they don't even know that there's a pandemic going on. We're still waiting on the Pony Express to send something our way.
Why are corn sales down? I don't get it.
All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach. We are football. We are FM 96.9, The Game. You feel that?
I can feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just hook it to my veins!
It's time for the blast.
That's right, it's time for the blast here on Open Mic. The blast brought to you by Frank Gay Services. If you need an electrician or a plumber and you need them right now, go to frankgayservices.com. They will hook you up with all of your electrician and plumber needs. That's frankgayservices.com. Let's start off with, let's go supplemental poll number 1. If full capacity is allowed at football games this fall, will attendance levels be higher or lower than they were before the pandemic? Higher or lower?
Well, I think we've already answered that question. Significantly lower. I think it's going to be significantly lower and across the board in all of sports. Again, people, as Adam likes to say, we've discovered how to do things differently. And sports fans were already discovering that instead of driving to Gainesville or Tallahassee and spending $200 a night on inflated hotel prices and all the time and money you spend going to games, they figured out, especially during the pandemic, I've got a 90-inch TV, high def. The beer only cost about $1 a piece instead of $10 a piece, all right, to go to the sporting events. I'm going to stay home and watch sporting events. Again, it was headed that way anyway, and I think the pandemic has driven that point home to many sports fans.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. It won't be higher. That I'm sure of. I think the only question is how much lower than the average of each of these schools will it be? And I think in certain places it'll be significantly lower.
I agree with you guys, except for Nebraska. Nebraska still 100,000 people packing Memorial Stadium every single Saturday.
Super spreaders,
reportedly.
61% of the vote says lower than previous years. Thought-provoking daily poll time with Orlando City SC opening the MLS season on Saturday. Do you think the Lions will build upon last year's breakout season or fall back into mediocrity?
In Oscar, we trust. I think Oscar Pereira, last year in his first year as a head coach of Orlando City, did a tremendous job. He led them to the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. They were runner-up in the MLS's back cup. He didn't just change their style of play. He changed their way of thinking. He got these guys believing in themselves. He got this franchise believing in itself, and I don't think that's going to go away. I think Oscar Pereira is a hell of a coach. I think he's got a good team coming back. Now, if Daryl Dike's back, obviously that's going to be a plus. But I think Orlando City is here to stay. I think they're going to be, from here on out, I think they're going to be a consistent playoff contender. Not saying they're going to win the championship this year, but they might compete for it. They might compete for it.
We've had like poll questions about, can we claim a part of, this trophy or, the Lakeland Magic?
Hideki Matsuyama.
Yeah, we've done all this stuff about different boat parades. We were jealous of Tampa Bay's boat parade. And I was getting so tired of those questions because they were ridiculous. Get your schedules ready, kids. Find out. Look at the MLS season, all right? When is the trophy going to be hoisted? Because that's when we can have our first ever real life City of Orlando championship parade / boat parade / whatever you want.
What about when UCF won the national championship? What about when the Orlando Apollos?
But again, these are all like like they're iffy. I'm talking about absolute legitimate City of Orlando, the pride of bringing home a professional sports trophy.
I'm going to tell Steve Spurrier you said that his Alliance of American Football trophy is not real.
Well, but you do tell him, though, that I am a big fist bump guy all of a sudden. So we'll be 50-50 on that. Yes, no, Orlando City is here to stay in a big, big way. But I believe in the leadership, believe in the players on the team. If they don't get DK back, they're going to get $20 million to spend on some other really good players.
$20 million for Flavio to put in his pocket before he sells the team.
Yeah, I thought he was selling the team. Then he found out DK may be worth $20 million. He's like, let me hold it for another couple weeks here. Let me see what we can do here.
62% of the vote says they will build upon last year.
Yes.
Supplemental poll number 2. How important are palatial facilities in the overall success of a college football program? They are so important! They are important. They're somewhat important, or they are not important.
I'm going to go so important. As much as it pains me to do that, because I think these palatial facilities are a waste of money. I don't think you really need these facilities to be successful. But as far as recruits go, yeah, I think they're important. And I point to Adams' favorite team, the Miami Hurricanes, who for years and years and years had terrible facilities, and it didn't matter. They still won national championships. Why? Because their program wasn't based on facilities. It wasn't based on the head coaches. It wasn't based on anything except getting good players. They were able to get good players without facilities. Now everybody has great facilities, so you better build them because that's what players want. They want perks.
Yeah, it is so important. And it became so important when the first school decided to dump this sort of money in, and the big SEC schools started having, because if you don't, you get left in the slow lane on the recruiting freeway quickly. And so that's why you're seeing even schools like Vanderbilt, who have never pretended to go like, hey, we really want to dip our toe into this competing for a football national. They're dumping money into their football facilities, okay? That is, you got to keep up with the Joneses now.
That's because the SEC said if you don't start dumping some money in there, we're going to relegate you.
First of all, if it weren't for Vanderbilt, they go, all right, well, see what your cumulative GPA looks like after.
What? Huh?
Yeah.
What?
But definitely so important today.
54% of the vote says it's important. Second place was 24% of the vote. So important! Supplemental poll number.
Why do I laugh when he yells?
I'm a funny guy.
It's like a pie in the face. I laugh at slapstick humor. Hey, slipped on a banana peel, Bianchi's laughing.
Supplemental poll number 3. Do you agree with one Mike Bianchi that all sports would be significantly better if coaches and athletes were all signed to 1-year contracts? Yes or no?
Think of the beauty of it. Think of the beauty of this. I mean, we talk about, we always talk about load management and these NBA players, and they don't feel like playing. Guys like Kyrie Irving, they just want to take some personal days. That wouldn't happen if you were under a 1-year contract. These coaching buyouts that these colleges have to spend, or NBA teams or NFL teams, when their coach turns out to be no good and they have to spend $21 million like FSU did with Willie Taggart to buy this guy out. If Willie Taggart were under a 1-year contract, guess what? You're gone. We'll bring in the next guy. Players would play harder. There'd be no guaranteed long-term deals to cripple franchises for years and years and years if players got injured. It would be wonderful for sports fans. Wonderful.
No, I love the idea. I've always...
Not for athletes.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, maybe for athletes. I mean, think about it. You could sign for one, at one... How many rookies do we see end up with these big, giant, or not big, giant contracts, but these small contracts if they're drafted in the 3rd or 4th round?
Yeah,
they become the NFL's... I mean, Clinton Portis was a guy who wanted to sit out I think it was like one of the top 2 running backs in the NFL in his rookie season, and he's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm playing for peanuts. Hold on now, so... listen, I think it could work.
Lamar Jackson wins the MVP his second season, right?
Russell Wilson was like, at one point, Russell Wilson was winning Super Bowls for like $300,000 a year. You know what I mean? So for some guys, it would work out great. For other guys, I mean, even if they got cut after having a great season, or after having a big contract, if they didn't live up to it, they'd still at least have some money. So yeah, 1-year contracts sound good to me.
65% of the vote says no. Where's the loyalty, Mike?
Really? Well, sports? God, you're a sports fan. You should want 1-year deals.
Supplemental poll number 4, with J-Lo and A-Rod officially announcing that they are Splitsville, who will go on to be more successful from this point forward, J-Lo or A-Rod?
Even though I think, I think A-Rod overachieved, I think A-Rod's probably going to be more successful, at least in the business world, because he just bought a sports franchise, or at least he bought part of a sports franchise, even though it's a bad sports franchise, the Minnesota Timberwolves. You don't lose money when you buy into major sports teams. You only make money, and you make lots of it. I'm going to go A-Rod, even though he overachieved.
Think about this. J-Lo, had COVID not stopped their wedding, she'd be a partial owner of a sports franchise at this moment. So yeah, she's already lost out. She's already lost out. Yes, A-Rod will be more successful.
64% of the vote says J-Lo will be more successful. Okay. That spawned our spontaneous supplemental poll. Who overachieved in their relationship more, Tim Tebow or his wife, former Miss Universe, Demi Lee Nell Peters?
Well, first of all, you didn't even know her name until you looked it up. I mean, this is an easy one. Timothy Richard Tebow is a global icon. He's a cultural icon. The guy is one of the most famous men in America. He's going to be president of the United States someday. I've already predicted that. He's good looking. He's successful. He's a good guy. He's charitable. He's a philanthropist. He is beloved throughout the world. Timothy Richard Tebow, did not overachieve. She did.
She was Miss Universe, all right? So that means that intergalactically, there was nobody more attractive, more congenial, better looking in a swimsuit, apparently. I mean, what do they have an IQ test in the Miss Universe pageant?
They ask the questions.
But they normally flub that.
Universal peace.
Remember the one question that one of the contestants answered? Hey, what do you think about euthanasia? I'm for the youth in all the continents.
Who was the one girl who was like, she like totally got flustered and she was like,
that was like Miss South Carolina or something.
All people
she
on
was
maps.
just rambling about nothing.
That's
remember?
right.
All people on maps.
That's right.
Like maps. So Tim Tebow overachieved there in that relationship.
53% of the vote. It's a close one. Tim Tebow overachieved in that relationship.
That's a bunch of garbage.
No, that's just you having a crush on Tim Tebow, Mike. And finally, the open mic Would You Rather poll. Would you rather have the cheesiest pizza ever or a pizza with the most toppings? It's either an all-cheese, super cheesy pizza or all the toppings.
The most toppings.
Really?
Most toppings.
Yeah, slam dunk. Slam dunk.
Get
most toppings.
out of here.
I literally once almost choked to death on a cheese pizza. I ordered extra cheese pizza. The cheese slid down my throat, and I was choking. And I literally was pulling cheese out of my throat like a magician does.
Oh, gosh.
Like a handkerchief.
Like handkerchiefs?
Oh, my
Yeah.
God. I'm telling you, that thing was like, by the time I got it out of my throat, that thing must have been about 2 feet long because it had slid down and was continue. So from that point forward, I will not eat an extra cheese pizza. Won't order it. Won't eat it.
Wow.
I'm like petrified of that. Yeah.
Wow. 56% of the vote says cheesiest pizza.
There you have it. All right, straight ahead, Gene Frenette, columnist of the Florida Times Union Jaguars Insider, is going to join us. But first, we have your chance at $1,000.
Now, here's your chance to win
thrill. Make some noise for the Jaguars of Jacksonville.
The Jaguars are going to make a lot of noise in a few days when the NFL draft gets here, and the man who is on top of it all is Gene Frenette, sports columnist of the Florida Times Union. You can read all of his Jags columns and other stuff at Jacksonville.com. You can also hit him up on Twitter at Gene Frenette. Gino, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, Mikey. How about yourself?
Doing good, Gene. Obviously, the Jaguars in the news as the draft approaches. We'll get to that. But first, I want to start with this story. Obviously, more and more NFL teams through the NFL Players Association have told their teams, we're not going to show up for voluntary offseason workouts, which are scheduled to begin on Monday. I would assume that Urban Meyer wants off-season workouts in his first year. Has there been any indication that the Jaguars are not going to show up?
There hasn't been. They've got a new player union rep, Tyler Shatley, who's kind of a veteran backup lineman, is their union rep. And there has not been. And I don't know this to be true. But I wonder, because they got an entirely new coaching staff, there's a lot more, probably always a little bit more learning curve, right, when you've got a new coaching staff as opposed to, one that, has been there 5, 6, 7 years or whatever. Whether the players, if they're tired of losing, would be more willing than, let's say, some of the teams that have already opted out. Workout, saying they're not coming, might be willing to do that. It'll be interesting, but there has not been any word yet about the Jaguars joining. I know the Giants were one of the teams that there's like 5 of them that I've decided they're not coming to these off-season workouts. But not that it's a huge deal, because we're only talking, they'd only be working virtually anyway. Until I think the first day that the NFL wants players to be able to at least get on the field is May 17th. I think it's the phase 2 of the off season. Phase 1 is going to be done all virtually.
Gene, also, I'd like to know, obviously, Trevor Lawrence, who the Jaguars are expected to take first in the draft. I want to know how much money you contributed to that high-tech toaster that Jaguars fans got him for his wedding present last weekend.
Oh, Mike, that's highly confidential. My concern is if a word gets out, you do it for one, then you're going to do it for all. Then anybody else who gets married, then if you don't get them some deluxe item, then they start saying, hey, you did it for Trevor.
I got to tell you, Gene.
What's amazing? Here's the amazing part. And I say this all the time. You got all these athletes, right? They got more. Trevor Lawrence is going to, get $36 million in guaranteed money or whatever it is, and fans are contributing. Obviously it's all based on the fervor for football, and he's the quarterback, and everybody loves him, right? But if you're going to contribute and get somebody some money or raise some money, do it for somebody that really, really needs it.
Yeah, do it for James Robinson, the street free agent last year, who was one of the best runners in the league, right?
Yeah, or preferably, get a wedding gift for somebody who doesn't have a whole lot or something like that. But this is the way the world works right now. It's a celebrity crazed world, and Trevor Lawrence is might very well be the biggest celebrity that Jacksonville will ever have, sports or non-sports. And it's good. The craze for him is really
Hello, Tim Tebow.
I don't know.
Stop it.
If Trevor Lawrence is going to lead the Jaguars to Super Bowl, I think he will be surpassing Tim Tebow, as beloved as Tim is, and with all the charity work that he's done. There's nothing like winning football games and winning championships, to do. Now, with the Gator fan base, I would say that's true. But for the non-Gator portion of the Jaguar fan base, if Trevor Lawrence becomes what people think he might, I think he might surpass him in that regard.
All right, Gene, the big question, though, is, we know the Jaguars are going to draft Trevor Lawrence. What are they going to do with the 25th overall pick in the first round? I think they got that from the Rams for the Jalen Ramsey trade. A lot of people think they're going to go defense. I suggested, hey, if Kadarius Toney's around, why wouldn't you want to give Trevor Lawrence a weapon like that? What do you think they're going to do?
Well, the fantasy draft that I had last week was giving up a lot of draft capital to go get Kyle Pitts. That's the guy that I think that would really turn a lot of Jaguar fans on if that were that. But I don't think they're going to give up the draft capital it would require to go from 25 all the way up to 4. But it's certainly nice to to think about doing something like that. Yeah, Kadarius Toney, I think, would be an intriguing weapon. The two names that you hear associated more with the 25th pick than anybody else are Christian Barmore, the defensive tackle from Alabama, and Trayvon Merrick, the safety from TCU. If I had a choice between the two, I would probably lean more toward Barmore because I think the Jaguars could probably use a little bit more oomph in the defensive line, especially since Tyson Alualu changed his mind and stayed with the Steelers instead of coming to Jacksonville. But other than that, Mike, that's a spot where you could see a lot of different scenarios happening. First of all, you don't know who might still be on the board, right? I mean, that's the biggest factor of all. I could see, but I do see the Jaguars probably going defense a little bit more there. But when you look at edge rushers, that's another thing the Jaguars need. The problem there is, there might not be any edge rushers worthy on the board. Maybe Jalen Phillips, the edge rusher from Miami. That would be something that would be a possibility. There's just so many ways they could go because it's really hard to project who's going to go, between 15 and 24. I mean, that could go all over the map.
Gene Frenette, columnist of the Florida Times Union, right here on Open Mic. Last question, Gene. What's going on with Gardner Minshew? Is he going to be with the team? And also, I'd read something where Urban Meyer was thinking about bringing in Alex Smith, who played quarterback for him at Utah back in the day.
Yeah, well, Urban said I think it was on Michael Urban's podcast that they, he sort of intimated that they explored that idea, that there was a conversation with Alex Smith, but he didn't elaborate any further as to what happened there. So I can only surmise that Alex is keeping his options open and wants to, get to a place where he can be more in position to challenge for a starting job. That's what I took out of that. As for Gardner, personally, I mean, he's not costing the Jaguars anything. I'd bring him to camp, just see how the competition goes. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything to bring him to camp. But if somebody were to offer something like a 5th-round draft pick for him, then I could see the Jaguars going in that direction. But at this point, it's too early to know what the market's going to be for Gardner. I think we'll know a lot more after the draft.
Gene Frenette, nobody knows more about the Jaguars